First of all, just on hacks, is there a primary lesson to be learned from all the hacks that have taken place up until now, so that the next exchange or the exchanges operating today can prevent that from happening? You started one of the first exchanges in the U.S., which you sold to Kraken. What can be learned from Mt. Gox and other disasters?
So I feel like most of the hacks that happened with exchanges are due to relatively simple security issues. It's usually not some sort of like crazy exploit of a new technology. It's usually the normal things like phishing and social engineering or SIM swapping or things like that. And I feel like most of the exchanges that get hacked could put it in better security practices, just knowing that they are such a gigantic target, such a honeypot for hackers.
Stacy, you're in charge of security, or you're in this area at Kroll. When there's been a breach, when there's been a hack, what do you do? The blockchain, I presume, would allow you to at least follow the trail, right?
That's the difficult part. It's almost nearly you can't follow the trail because it's all encrypted or protected from that perspective. One thing that's common is a lot of the fraudsters, if they're in a group and they're working together, they do have encrypted chat channels that they're using, sometimes hosted by the exchange, but a lot of times just regular social media things, WhatsApp, different things like that they're using to chat, and that way. From an investigation standpoint, you can go back and kind of start to follow a little bit of the communication. And so to your, they are simple security controls and things that you can put in place. And I think exchanges could do a better job of understanding, or educating users on the different, who's chatting where, and giving access to those folks, to the investigators as necessary to track things down if possible.
The other thing I would add to that is that with chain analysis, especially with something like Bitcoin, and it can even go to things like Monero, which are supposed to be fairly anonymous, you can figure out very often where transactions are going in between and like where the money is moving. But when money is stolen from exchanges, usually that money is funneled to other exchanges. And like even very recently, there was something shown where like there was a big hack from one of the Korean exchanges, and like $30 million moved over to Binance. And I think that shows that the exchanges aren't working very well together to basically limit that type of behavior. If there's a bunch of money being stolen and it starts being deposited onto their platform, they should.
So Kara, Yo was making the point earlier that a lot of this is not super sophisticated technology. It's sort of rather simple. But is there somewhat of an arms race between sort of the light side and the dark side, the light web and the dark web, if you will?
Yeah, so I think a lot of the issue is wrapped around the misconception of security when it comes to blockchain. It really focuses on integrity and non-repudiation, validating the origin and the authenticity of a message, and not so much on securing or scrambling the data and protecting and providing security for the actual data, protecting the coins and the access to them. Do you have the proper authorization to actually access that data? So to his point earlier about the exchanges, there's some exchanges that don't have simple security controls, such as making sure that only the users can have access to their money. And if login credentials can get compromised, why are they able to log in and have access to that data? Just because they're an employee of a company? No one should have access to my money except for me.